Hi everyone, my name is Ali Grayman. This is OCD Recovery Channel, and today I wanted to talk to you about coming from a position of power. When you're recovering from OCD and you're doing all of these things in terms of doing reassurance, avoidance, trying to figure the thoughts out, trying to solve the thoughts, asking other people, basically everything you can do to make yourself worse, right? Because when we start to get OCD, we're not trained in how to recover. It's not like a cold where, okay, yeah, you have to take this, do this, and then you'll recover from the cold, right? We don't know this about OCD. Most people, unless they've already dealt with it in some other aspect of their life or they're trained in it, they don't know how to deal with OCD. So the natural response is to do basically everything wrong. Do reassurance, avoidance. Like when I was recovering from OCD, that's what I did, right? So that's what everybody pretty much does. So when you're doing all of these things, the reason why they're so bad at their core is because you're coming from a position of fear. So you're showing your mind that you are afraid of this thought. And your mind sees that you are afraid of this thought. It catches that signal of fear that you're sending, and it sends you more similar thoughts or more variations of this same thought in order to try to protect you from that which you fear. Okay? So this is why coming from a position of power is so extremely important when you're recovering from OCD. So whenever you're thinking about your OCD thought, whenever you're kind of engaging it in any way, you should be saying, yep, I'm getting this thought. Yep, I'm getting anxiety. This is my typical OCD thought. I'm coming from a position of power now. I'm not coming from a position of fear. I'm not going to fear this thought anymore. This is typical. I'm done with it. I'm not paying any more attention to it. So coming very strongly from that position. And when you do that, your mind says, oh, okay. Like at first, it will try to rebel against you and give you even more thoughts to see if you're serious, to see if you're really not in danger. But afterwards, this is just how the mind mechanism works, It works the same for anybody with any type of OCD. So when you do this though over time and you're continuously overpowering OCD, your mind says, okay, yeah, you're not in danger. I'm going to stop sending you these thoughts. And that's how OCD goes away. That's the whole trick to it. So whenever you're coming from an OCD, whenever you're engaging your OCD thought, never allowing yourself to feel scared. These are just patterns. Your mind, that part of the mind, the amygdala, it doesn't even understand what thought it's sending you. It's sending you a random pattern that you reacted to. Like it's not viewing it the way you're viewing it in terms of deep moral sense and all of this stuff. It's viewing it in terms of like how a computer views everything, information, right? In terms of zeros and ones, basically, right? So it's viewing it on a pattern that, okay, this you reacted to, the other stuff you didn't react to, so it's going to send what you reacted to with fear, whatever it is. It doesn't know what it is, but it's going to basically send you back what you send to it. So you say, I'm reacting with fear to blah, blah, blah. So it's going to send you more blah, blah, blah back. You know what I mean? It doesn't know what that is. It's just sending you what you reacted to with fear. So if you're trying to fix that part of the mind by trying to explain to it that there's no danger or trying to reassure yourself, you're reassuring the part of the mind that cannot be reassured by definition. It doesn't understand what it's sending you. So it can't be reassured against because it doesn't get it in the first place. It's just like traffic control. Do you know what I mean? So instead of fighting that way, what you're saying is, nope, you're wrong. I'm not paying attention. Do you see how when I say this, you're coming from a position of power right away? You're not coming from a position of fear. I'm so scared. Oh my God. What if this thought is true? All of this stuff. Nope. This is just my OCD. I don't care. I've had it a million times before. I'm done with it. And I'm telling you, this is the correct position to be in and trying to maintain that all day long. Now, in terms of recovery, it will be pretty much impossible to maintain that all day long. Just because we're human and we will, give in every once in a while. But as much as possible, I really suggest having at least 80% success rate. Not success rate so much, but 80% coming from a position of power rate, so to speak, right? That you have to make sure that 80% of the day you are not reacting with fear, or at least striving for that, because the more you strive for that, the more closer you will come to that, because you need to prove to your mind that almost all the time you're not going to react with fear anymore. Sometimes you will, yeah, okay, but most of the time you won't, because that means that your mind will get the impression that most of the time this thought is not dangerous, and it doesn't need to send this thought to you, and at least it won't send it to you most of the time. And when you get into that level, which is like a level 6 out of 10 OCD, right? So it's much lower level, so you're halfway out of OCD. You can disregard to a 90-degree angle and come up from a position of power 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, and then at that point you'll recover fully. So it gets better as you go along. I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to cover a lot of different topics, so I'm skipping some steps and all of that. You can view my other videos for more in-depth information on these different parts, but generally, always coming from a position of power. Don't allow yourself to cry over having OCD. Don't allow yourself to feel depressed over having OCD. Yes, having OCD is, it's very severe. I've had OCD and recovered myself, if you don't know. So I know how bad it gets, because I had 10 out of 10 OCD. So I know how bad it gets. But, finding that inner strength and saying, you know what, it's the reassurance, they're coming from a position of fear, it's not going to work. So I'm going to, gather all my might that I possibly can and refuse the reaction as much as you possibly can, because you don't want to have this for any more time, for any more years, any more months, whatever you had it for, right? That you're done with it, you're coming from a position of power, you're choosing not to pay attention to this thought anymore. Choice does not require proof. Choice does not require reassurance. It's a choice. I'm done with it. I'm choosing not to play the game anymore. It's like, think of it this way. If somebody's arguing with you and you're just going over the same things over and over again, just arguing with them, and then you're just saying, you know what, I'm not even going to argue with you anymore. I'm done with arguing, because it's not solving anything. Viewing this the same way, that person that you're arguing with doesn't understand your point of view. Same as that part of the brain, the amygdala, does not understand what the thought is about. So you can't reason with it. So instead of trying to reason with it, just saying, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I don't care, and going along like that. And I promise you, if you do this, you will recover from OCD. So I hope you find this helpful. Again, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. You can also visit youhaveocd.com. There's a private recovery program there with me. There's a lot of information on OCD recovery, so please check that out. And I will see you in the next video.